remember. So welcome everybody to our third Angel Alchemy session, healing session, and it's going to be a little bit of a teaching session as well today in regards to helping you manage your energy field so that you have a nice, clean, clear energy field, but also very good boundaries as well. So it's just, I know for many of us who are really sensitive, we can pick up a lot of energy from other people, and that can affect us. And it's nice to be able to clear that out of our field, or it's also nice to have a little bit of a boundary so that we don't get too affected by it as well. So there's going to be two things I'm going to be teaching you tonight that I found really useful for me. I'm really, really sensitive, and it's two little practical things that you can do that really help with the sensitivity and also help you to manage your own thoughts as well. It's so because our thoughts can also affect how we feel, so it's kind of a little bit of a self-maintenance teaching practice. So the first thing that's really important that we are going to be learning is about having a grounding cord that runs from the very bottom of our spine all the way down to the bottom, through the earth, down to the center of the earth. Now, often I'm sure you've heard people talking about grounding and how important it is to keep your balance in your life, because if we're too caught up in our head, or, you know, we feel ungrounded, we can feel wobbly, spacey, and we can't really function very well in our life. But what's also important about how we can work with grounding is that we can discharge energy down to the earth for transmutation. We can discharge our, let's say, emotional energy that we may be carrying. We can also discharge, let's say, thought forms and negative thought forms that create the emotional charge that make us feel a bit yucky, down to the earth for transmutation. And that can clear our headspace, and it helps us to get out of our head. So there's a number of good reasons to work with grounding. A, to keep yourself balanced, but also to kind of keep your thoughts, your own thoughts, to yourself as well. Like, keep your own thoughts. You can also remove thoughts that come from other people, which sometimes we do carry. So an example of thoughts from other people that sometimes can affect us, which I just want to give you a little bit of an example to sort of gain some clarity around this. If somebody criticizes you, maybe you've made a mistake and somebody's criticized you, and you've taken on board that criticism and started to think negatively about yourself, you then create an emotional charge around that thought, which is where you feel bad as well. So the thought might be, oh, you know, I'm useless, I'm no good, or whatever it is, or whatever that person may have planted in your mind, and you have taken ownership of that and created this energy around it that can make you feel bad. So prime example of some of these things that happen to us is when we're very young and we carry those thought forms in our mind as programming and conditioning, and also limiting beliefs as well. So say something happened to you when you were younger and you got really criticized for it, and you were only young, you made a mistake. It was a genuine mistake, but somebody criticized you because they didn't know any better of how to handle the situation and told you were a bad child or whatever. You could have carried that thought in your head and made a limiting belief around that you're not good enough. And then there's a whole heap of emotional energy around that, of how you feel about yourself, which can be like a lower form of energy. So bearing in mind, let's think about the thoughts that we hold in our head at times. There's higher thoughts, which is that happy, lovely vibrational thoughts. They're high energy, and they will generate good feelings for ourselves. So if you know, have a compliment and you own it as well, somebody gives you a compliment, you can own it, you can feel good about that. or there could be those negative things that go on, and then you have those negative energies around that as well, the feelings around that. The most negative thoughts are very dense, and they create a lot of dense and heavy energy. And the most densest energy and thoughts that we have is around fear. So if you think about fear, it drags us down. We feel low, we feel fearful, and it's a kind of really dense, heavy energy. And so if we carry a lot of fear-based thoughts in our head and energy around that, that can keep us feeling pretty shit, can make us feel low, and maybe can even stop us doing things we want in our life because we are connected to that fear, thought, and energy. But we can release that, and we can release that using this grounding cord, which I'm going to describe to you, which we can all do together as well, that you can allow the thought forms, which is the thoughts and the energy around it, that's a thought form, down through your body, through that grounding cord, all the way down to the earth, and we just allow the earth to transmute it. So if you just imagine now, like, we'll just play with this for a minute. Think about, just go to you take your awareness to the bottom of your spine, just, where you're sitting. And imagine that you've got this tube of light, and we're going to call it light. You can color it whatever color you want, but whatever color, you send this tube of light all the way down to the center of the earth. It's just an imaginary process. You can close your eyes or have your eyes open. And we want to light it up because it's kind of an electrical energy. Thoughts in our mind are electrical. So we kind of use light. Light is almost like electrical power going all the way down to the center of the earth. Now, that's that first stage of that grounding cord. Then the second stage is you're going to imagine now that you've got this kind of cord that wraps around it. And you can maybe see it as a metal cord that goes round and round like a spiral, all the way round that cord that goes all the way down to the center of the earth. So you've got this tube of light and the cord that wraps around. So in that wrap around with the cord, that's where the emotional, the feelings can go, because that wraparound cord is like a magnetic energy, and it draws it down. And our emotions and our feelings can be kind of magnetic. They draw things to them. So when we're feeling rough, we can kind of draw more of that towards us. So we kind of use a magnetic energy that takes it away from us, and it takes it away from our head and what we're feeling in our body as well. So now you've just imagine you've got this beautiful cord that's going all the way down to the center of the earth with this tube of light and this thing that's wrapping around. That is your grounding cord. And you can set that up for yourself anytime you need it. When you start to feel that you're too much in your head, you're thinking negative thoughts about yourself, maybe you're highly critical, maybe there's thoughts coming from other people that you've noticed that you sort of keep repeating, and you're on a mental loop of what somebody said to you. They said this, and they said this, and they said this, and this makes me feel bad. And so we want to discharge that. So let's play with something now. So think about something that you say to yourself that may be a little bit, critical. Like we all do it. We've got this, and it's like a little voice in our head, and it's like it comes at times when maybe we make a mistake, or we're not on form, and there's this critical kind of thought form, and there's an energy around it. So I just want you to allow that to come up in your mind, and I want you just to think about that, whatever it might be, and we're just playing with this. And I want you to imagine that it's going. Now you're just sending it down through the body, down to connect to that cord that goes all the way down to earth. You don't have to go all the way down the center. It's just going to go down there. You've set your cord, and you're just charging it through from your mind and your body down that cord. You're just letting it go. Now, what's interesting, when we work with this, sometimes we can practice it for a little while on your own. You can think of all the things that you don't want to think about yourself, or the things that are not good for you that you think about. You work at letting them go in that way, and that helps to clear your headspace. But I just want to be aware that when we start to release things, we start to let things go in our head, and the charge, the emotional charge and the feelings around that, other things may pop up to the surface. So, because they've been like held down beneath. So don't be surprised that another negative thought might pop up. When you've let something go, something else might crop up and you just let it go down. So, you know, that's just an example of how you're setting your grounding cord, that you can practice that. You can do that in the morning or anytime you need it, that you get, it helps you to be really grounded in yourself, but it helps to get those thought forms out and those emotions attached to it out, down to be transmuted to the earth. So really, really simple technique, and you can set that up anytime. And the reason I wanted to teach you that, because that's kind of what we need to do first before we work with the energy field, because we want to get ourselves really grounded and our grounding cord set, and then we work with a space around us, which is going to be another technique that I'm going to teach you. So you can do that grounding cord on its own anytime you want, and you just let those thoughts go with the charge of that energy around them. So it's very good as well if you have picked up some thoughts from other people, like somebody said something to you. I just want to reiterate this, because we tend to, because we're sensitive, we tend to keep hold of things. We absorb things from other people. They may say things about us or other people, and then we absorb that and we think about it over and over and over. And that charge of those thoughts going round and round and round creates the energy around it and how we feel about it. And then all of a sudden we're just like, you know, just caught up in our head thinking thoughts and not having any control over them. And us as human beings will have a multitude of thoughts that just randomly happen because they're just on this kind of continuous loop. Now, you could work with this grounding cord to just sit for a meditation and just allow your mind to be clear. And you just set that intention. You're just sending all those thoughts that just roll round and round in your head about anything. You don't even have to set what they are about to go down that, so you can just clear your headspace, and it helps just to clear away the energy attached to those thoughts as well. So it's a useful little practice. So we've set our cords, and now we're going to think about what's going on in our energy field. Now, as sensitive beings, we will be very sensitive towards what's happening in our environment and other people around us. So we need to be able to manage our energy field and have a clear boundary of what's our energy and what's coming from other people. So this is important if you're working with people and, you know, there's a dissonance, maybe you don't quite resonate, but you don't have any a choice with it, or you go into situations, you know, it's going to be a bit difficult. So you can set your energy field up and set that intention that your energy is clearly yours and their energy is theirs. And then we can also work with this practice as dissipating energy that we know we've absorbed from others, and we allow it out to just dissipate out as well in a very simple way. So this is an imaginary practice as well. So I want you to imagine now, like you can close your eyes. It's called the rose technique. So it's just, we use the rose because it gives us something to visualize that's going to be at the end of our energy field, that's also going to help us have that clear, like set boundary in our mind, that awareness. And we use that rose to set the boundary where we want it to be, and we can make it movable. So we have the rose at the end of our energy field, and we can move it in and out as well. So we're working with our own energy field and controlling that level of boundaries. And it's really, really useful, and it really does work. So imagine now, like you can close your eyes if you want to. You're just putting one of your hands out, and you're holding a rose with a really long stem that goes all the way down to the ground. And you just imagine that that is, just for now, the edge of your energy field. And you can just imagine that's where that is in front of you. And I want you to imagine that you're just turning around with that rose in your hand. You're going to go 360 degrees all the way around. So you're just standing still, but you're just going around 360 degrees, taking that rose around you. So you're drawing a circle, and you're in the middle of the circle, and that rose is created like a boundary all the way around you. So that's the edge of your energy field. And now we're going to imagine that you're going to now take that rose, that same distance, it's going to go up. So you raise your arm up, all the way up above your head. And then you also imagine that it's also going behind you and underneath your feet. So you've kind of got this circle above your head and under your feet. And then you've got this circle all the way around you. And it's just you can imagine you're doing it. You can do it physically standing up if you want to another time. You can literally, go round, or you can't go up too far up and back, but it's an imaginary practice. So you set this field, so you've got this circular field, and the rose, now I want you to place that rose right in front of you again. Like, you don't have to hold it, you just have this rose. You can make that rose whatever color you want. It doesn't matter what color it is. That's the edge of your energy field. Okay, now you can move that rose closer to you, and you can move it further away. So this is the power you have. Okay, and what's most important is that you are in the middle behind that rose at all times. That's where you're in your own energy space. Anything beyond that rose is out in the world, other people's energy and life playing out in front of your very eyes, so you've got your own boundary. And so that is like your power. You're in your space. This is you taking charge of your space as well, and not allowing other people's energy to come into your space. You're taking charge. This is my space. I can move the rose closer, or I can move it farther away if I need to, if I want to expand my space. And you can, I want you to play with this another time. So like, if you want, say if you're working and that somebody's coming into your office or whatever, because you've set this rose, you can place that rose between you and that person so that their energy stays with them and your energy stays with yours. And this is really useful if we know that maybe we're dealing with somebody that's, kind of difficult, or we've known in the past that maybe they've kind of been a bit of a drainer on us, or maybe they're really angry and they're lovely, but they're really angry or they're really upset, or something's going on, but we don't want to take that energy on ourselves, because by having our own space in our energy field, we can still be loving and compassionate and understanding of anybody else's problems they have, but we don't have to take that energy into our field and feel it with them. We can still understand what's going on, but we don't have to take it on board. And it's very good, for around, let's say, the lower states of energy for people. If somebody's very angry or negative or critical of, they're just moaning or whatever, and you think, oh God, I can't deal with this. You set your rose between you and that person. You've set your boundary. So this is where you have that power. Now, what's also very interesting with the rose situation is that we can work with the rose in using it to kind of draw up any energy we may feel that's been in our energy field. So we could create another rose inside our energy field, and we draw energy that we may have absorbed from others, like unwillingly, unwittingly, but we know it's not ours, and we send it out to the edge of our energy field, outside it, and allow it to kind of like dissipate and explode. So we can just like, let something go from feeling or something. But what's really useful is that now you've got your rose and your energy field set up, you've got your grounding cords set up, you're kind of all set to be like really in your own sense of power with this. So just give a sense of your field around you. You've got this energy field around you. Now, if there's anything that you may notice that is not necessarily your energy. So a situation is like, maybe something happened to you at the weekend, and somebody calls you to feel a certain way. Something happened and you went into a feeling of guilt or resentment, or something that just triggered something in you and stuff. Something happened with them, their energy came into your field and it triggered something in you, and you might still be carrying that, because often if we don't clear it, we're going to be carrying a whole heap of energy from other people. And that's why we get a little bit confused with what we're feeling, and we get overwhelmed with our sensitivities because we're feeling too much and we've got and other energies around us. So like maybe pick a situation, there might be something that springs to mind, or if not, think about this later on. You know, you can do this later on. Your energy field set up, your rose energy field set up, your cord set up. Something happened to you at the weekend, something that caused you to feel a certain way, and you will be holding that feeling in your field of energy. So what we were going to do, we're going to move it out. We're going to move it out. So what you do, you imagine you've got another rose inside your energy field. So you've got your boundary one, and then you've got this other little rose. And that rose, you're going to set that intention. That energy just gets absorbed by that other little rose, goes into the rose. And then you imagine now that you're going to take it out of your energy field. So it goes past the boundary of your field. And you just see it exploding like fireworks, you know, poof, into the air. And that clears that particular feeling or dense feeling or whatever it was out of your field. So you clear your field. Now you can do that anytime you've had a situation where you may have been caught off guard and you know you've absorbed some energy from others. Maybe it's been a heavy meeting at work and you just think, oh my God, you know, it's all sorts of things are coming up. Even if you're not really sure what to really call that energy, but you feel it feels weird, you could just imagine that you can create a picture of it and it goes into that extra rose, and then you just let it go out through the boundary of your own energy field. So that's just a way of like you can clear energy. You know, it's very quick. You just like boom out. Now, another thing is really important, is that, which would be great for you to play with, if you know you're dealing with somebody that's difficult, you want to imagine, just as like it's kind of going to need to remember this to do it, that you've got a little rose between you and them. That sets your like energy intention and your awareness that you've got this boundary, so you're not forgetting it. So therefore their energy will not come into your field. You've got this rose, and notice how different it will feel for you, because you think, right, I've got my boundary, I've got my rose there, I'm placing it in front between me and them, so that you are owning your own field of energy and they have theirs. So, and what's interesting is if any energy does accidentally come into your energy field from others and you dissipate it out through the exploding rose, what happens is that energy does just dissipate, but it also just gets transformed and goes back to them. It's theirs. We don't need it. You know, so it's kind of like almost like return to sender in a way. You know, it's like but it's all done very well. Like it's all transformed and it's all good energy going back. So it's just that, and that can be useful actually, because like in previous sessions we've learned about how we can give our energy away and we can deplete ourselves where our energy spread and we spread ourselves too thinly, in that healing session that we did. But this is like quick simple way of managing your field, of doing it. Now, what's also very good as well, you can set roses around the space you're in, like your room. So if you've got an office and you want to kind of have a little bit of a boundary, you can set roses in places like the corners of your room to give that boundary. That's your space. You can put it on your car so that you can set the spaces on your car so other cars don't come too close. So this is where you start to play with it and see how it works. Say you've got somebody who's driving up your backside and you see, so you could immediately put a rose in your backside, push it out. This is the backside of your car, push it out, and that person will move back, because they're like this. We're all working with energy here, it's like how you play with it and see how it works for you. So it's just that kind of learning to realize that you have your space, and some people call it the aura, which we can call it, but having that mental image of the rose gives you that kind of perspective of a boundary. So you know that's your boundary. And if somebody is coming close to you and you still want to feel that boundary, so they start to walk forward, you can move that rose in so that you've still got that rose between them and you, so you do not absorb their energy. You stay in your own power, in your own energy field. As long as you have that intention in your mind that that rose is there, you won't have their energy in your field. So it's just, you know, an empowering tool for very, very sensitive. It doesn't mean that we're going to be kind of, you know, just sort of like not feeling anything or anything anymore. You know, we still do. We still feel stuff going on around us, but we don't get so knocked off our feet. And like I said, the edge of our energy field is where life plays out. Things do happen and we will still feel things about that, but we don't kind of like take it on board, especially if it's other people's stuff. We just stick with our own stuff, and that's when we deal with our own stuff. And we can clear our own stuff, you know, by exploding that rose at the end of the edge of the energy field as well. So it's something to play with, and it's just really, I just found it really useful, and it's really helpful, and you can do it like immediately. Like say you're out and about and you just like something happens and you can like, right, my grounding cord's going down, and now I'm going to make sure I've got that intention that my energy field is there. So you kind of wake up to the fact that you've got your rose and you've got your boundary around you, and you can play with it. You can see, like, if you bring it close and say, right, everybody can come close to me, you notice that people will move a bit more closer to you. If you move it further away, people tend to stand more at a distance. So it's like, you know, like we want people in our, we can let them really close. We've got those we love, and, you know, we want that. But then there's some that we just do actually intentionally want to keep a distance because there's a lot going on in their energy field and we don't want any of it. You know, it is just like, I'm not going to absorb any of that. Particularly if they're having a difficult time, you know, as well, and there's lots of energy being flying out in their field and flying all over the place, looking for somewhere to stick to. And namely the empaths, like sponges, and we will absorb it because we're so open. And that's it, we're so open. So this just gives us a tool just to be a little bit more, you know, not like closed off, but a more protected, but more in our power of how we handle our energy field. We can let things in, but we can also keep things at that kind of distance. Trying to think what else I might need to remember as well that could be useful. If you are aware of a limiting belief as well, this is another thing that's useful with this rose technique. So if you know you've got limiting belief and it comes up, you know, like you'll have it in your mind or whatever, or maybe you don't feel good enough, or maybe you don't feel, you know, a certain way, you know, how you like to feel about yourself. Maybe you look at yourself with critical eyes about anything, you know, like, and the limiting beliefs are restrictions, and they're kind of, they are dense forms with energy, but they can, you know, if we've held them a long time, and like I said earlier, like they can be set from childhood or things happening in our youth, that kind of is actually like an energy force. It's almost like an entity in a way, you know, like you can imagine like a ball of energy that's kind of like, I'm not good enough energy, you know. And every now and then when we're feeling low or something happens, that I'm not good enough will come up in our awareness, and it's a limiting belief, and it will stop us, and it will inhibit our behavior and what we do and what we don't do. You can set that limiting belief up, you can bring that into your energy field. You might see it as a symbol or something, or a color, and you take it to the rose. You just let that rose absorb it, and then you can take it to the edge of your energy field and let it explode, and that helps to dissipate that. So it's just ways of using your own, let's say, alchemic powers of intention and you shifting and learning how to work with your own energy, because everything's energy, really. Physically, we're energy, thoughts, energy, emotions, energy. Thoughts are like electrical there, because our brain is fires off the thoughts, and it's like electrical charges. The emotions are more like magnetic, so the electrical charge of the thoughts attracts the magnetic field of the feelings and the emotions, and then it locks together and creates a thought form. And so when we think of something and we feel bad, that's a thought form. So it's not just a thought, a random thought with no methods, and so it's kind of quite dense. So if we think of something good and we feel good, that's a thought form, but we want to keep that. It makes us feel good. We don't have to get rid of that, any of that. So limiting beliefs that hinder us are like thought forms. It started as a thought that we may have adopted from somebody else to make us think a certain way about who we are and what we're capable of. And then the energy of the feelings and the emotions around that are locked in with it. So this is just like moving it out. So it's just a good way of working with that for yourself. So it's something you play with and try out for yourself. There is going to be a replay of this, so you can listen to it again and play, take notes or whatever from it as well, just to work with this. Now, that grounding cord with the light energy going down like a tube, and the little sort of like spiral of something going around it, like a cord or wire or metal. Set that up for yourself and play and really feel that. You'll feel really anchored to earth, but you can get things out of your head going all the way down to that. Particularly other people's stuff where they've said things to you, maybe from past, often, past situations where you still might be thinking about them at times. Maybe somebody was really hurtful towards you and you keep reliving it over and over in your head. You've created a thought form with a field of energy and emotion around it, and you don't want to keep thinking that because it's not serving you. You let it go down that ground. You just take it down that grounding cord, and then the awareness of your energy field is like you step into your field. You can feel what's in your field. Does it feel clear? Is there something in my energy field that doesn't belong to me, or it feels a bit off? Draw it up into that rose and let it go out to the edge of it and let it explode. So that's just simple, really, really simple, but I've noticed it being very, very effective. And just play and see how that goes for you in what's happening for you in your life, and using that space, having you always in the center of your energy space, with it's your energy, not anybody else's, sets you up in a very empowering kind of position where you are, you just feel good about yourself. You feel more confident in your alignment. You feel you can trust yourself more because it's just your stuff there. And you can, just like clear your energy. You can charge your energy field up if you want to. So in previous recordings, we've used color and we've used light to bring a color and light into energy field. So you can imagine like your energy, if you want to do a really quick cleanse of it, you imagine a beautiful, beautiful white light, just like pops your energy field, and it just gives you a nice, clean, clear energy field for yourself. And then you might need another color or another kind of thing that you intuitively will know. You can bring that in for yourself, and call in, maybe you need some bright, sunny energy, you want to be lifted up and you want to feel a little bit of a lift. Maybe yellow might sing to you at that point, the yellow color, because the color of yellow is like the sun and it lifts us up. It makes us feel better when it's a sunny day, so you can work with those kind of things. Once you've really got that set for yourself, you can do all sorts of things with that. So I hope that's helpful. I think I will open the line if you want to ask any questions. If you've got anything, you can unmute yourself, ask me any questions, because it is more of a teaching thing today. So if there's anything that crops up in your mind and you want to ask me, unmute yourself now, and I'll just try and answer that. If there's anything that you're not clear about, again, just unmute yourself and let me know. So if anybody wants to put your hand up, you can just open the channel and we can just have a quick chat, because I'm here. You got me. So if you are all good and you're all kind of clear with what we're doing, I'll go on, Rachel. Thank you.
Hi, love. It wouldn't be me if I didn't say anything. So thank you very much for this. So I've never heard the rose one before. So when I was working through it, I'm guessing it's very similar to the angelic bubble that I put myself in to protect myself from the people's energy. So I really got that one. But what was interesting, as you know, I'm very visual, is to take that rose and absorb it, and then when you said explode, it was just so graphic to me. It's just like, right, okay, we are going to explode everybody else's energy. So yeah, I'd never heard it.
Yeah, no, and it's like you're taking it out. So when you are taking it beyond, you've got to make sure you take it beyond your boundary of your energy field, and you just see it as like fireworks that's exploding out. It returns back to the person, so it returns back in a good way, so it all gets transmuted. So the people get their energy back. So if say somebody's giving you a lot of anger, it will be transmuted before it goes back. Okay, it's just the way
that will help them to heal, will it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because that's the intention. You're not wanting to send back negative energy. Like if they've sent you energy negative, you don't want to send them back. But just this whole technique with the rose, because the rose is very linked to heart-centered energy. It's like roses are beautiful. There's a lot of symbolic meaning to roses and what they are. They're very transformative, very healing, they can lift us up and things like that. So just using the rose picture, and whatever color you want to have your rose, it doesn't matter. It just, you're just using it as a tool to send back the energy. You're not sending back negative energy or anything like that. It gets transmuted. But seeing it exploding in your mind like a firework just going bang, it kind of just gives you that visual sense of, oh, it's gone now. It's dissipated, it's just like, boo, and it's just like a big spark of boop, all gone and goes back. So and yeah, so it's like your angelic bubble around you is your aura, and this just sets like the intention of having that, let's say, physical thing where you are aware of your boundary of your aura and your energy field. So you set that. It's a useful tool. Like you can, and like I said, you can move that rose close or further away. And then you can also set roses in your space so that you have a space within a space in a way, so it's like you always got your own energy field, but you can even put spaces around your room and stuff like that, expand it out further.
I've got a meeting this morning. Trust me, it's going to be full of roses. It needs it. So thank you, Lamanda.
Yeah. Well, you've set your space up now. So when you go into your meeting today, just remember your grounding cord. Like you do need to do that, Marianne. Every time you want to work with a rose, you want to just, even if it's just a quick room, my cord's down. You might not do the whole thing of releasing the thoughts, but you've set your cord. It's kind of that two-step process that keeps you aligned and grounded, because you want to be grounded. And then you have your rose in your boundary, Rachel, like the edge of your boundary, whatever space you want. And if you're say somebody's talking to you, you want to just imagine that there's a rose between you and them, so that they're in their energy field and you're in yours, and just see how different that feels for you in your meeting. So that if anyone's like bombarding you with stuff, that energy just sort of just loops around, it just stays where they are, but you're not getting it in your energy field. So let me know how you get on with that. Yeah. But yeah, the grounding cord, or it's just that kind of gets you ready for it and stuff. But you've got your energy is always there, your energy field's always there, but it just turns that awareness on your mind about, oh, I'm going to put my little boundary up there, my little boundary, my energy field, because you're taking charge of your own energy. You know, you don't want to be like, you know, used or stuff with other people's stuff, energy coming into it, because like we being the sensitives, we naturally are open and absorbing, and we just take things in. Now that actually, as much as it's lovely that we can really be empathetic and we can feel other people's energies and what's going on, and sometimes it doesn't serve us, you know, sometimes, you know, it doesn't serve us to be like that. Sometimes we need to have this thing, this clear awareness of our energy field, ours, and what's going on for other people. And then we then are not in, let's say, affected by other people's energy, so that we can carry on and do what we want to do as well, you know, for us in our sense of self. So nobody's you know, influencing us, you know, we're not necessarily doing what we do. Stay with our power. We don't get influenced by other people's energy. You know, because some people like to do that. They like to overpower and take charge and be sucking of energy of others. And so that stops that sucking, our energy going out and being sucked away from us. That stops that as well. So yeah, it's good to have like real life situations to play with this. I had one quickly. I had one where something happened at the weekend, and I was aware of certain energies around me that was not feeling that great. And I remembered what I did. I put my cord down, I set my boundary, and I cleared anything that I felt may have already come in. And then I just had that clear edge to and everything was fine after that. And I didn't kind of feel, you know, like I wanted to run away. I could hold my own space, and that's it. We hold our own space and we hold our own power in it. So yeah. Has anyone else got anything, or I can finish and wrap it up? We're all good. Let me just check the chat box. Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. Helpful?
Yeah, do you know what? I know the guy. I listened to that, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 odd years ago, and I'm going, I knew that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
great.
And isn't it a good reminder?
It is a great reminder. Yeah.
It's just another technique.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. I remember it, but it is a long time ago, you know. So thank you. Very handy.
You're more than welcome. No,
perfect timing. I'm here for a reason.
Well, that's it. And it came to my awareness recently as well, and I knew about it, and I got reminded about it, and I thought, oh, I've got to share this, because we do forget.
Yeah, I forget.
Yeah, but if that's one thing we can remember, if that's that little thing for ourselves, we choose like, I'm going to remember this now, and we play with it and see how it works, and it does work. We're going to remember it, you know, but it's remembering it at the right time as well, like, you know, like in situations and stuff. But you can set it up before you go to your meeting, Rachel. You've got it, you know, like, you're like, right, I'm going, or you set it up before you enter the room as well, you know. So it's just, and while people's talking, just imagine you've got a rose between you and them, and that helps you to feel more in your field, where you are, yours more in your own field. So yeah.
I can add a great practice that I remember from all those years ago. It's coming to me, and I remember him saying, do it when you're at the supermarket. Yeah. When you're walking down those bloody aisles at the supermarket, imagine you're in your bubble and you've got your rose, and people start smiling at you.
Yes.
And they do.
Yeah.
Because maybe your energy's just clear. Yeah. And I remember practicing that. And so when you're bored walking down the supermarket aisles, that's a great place to focus on that rose and that clear space. And people they look at you, and it's a different experience.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's good to play with it in creating the distance as well. I had noticed that if you say somebody's getting a little bit close to you in your space, you think, right, I'm going to shift it out a little bit, see if they kind of just automatically step back. It's like, oh,
Okay.
yeah. And he's like, it's just, it's just helps just to, keep yourself protected in a way, or, just keeping your own power and space. But yeah, no, it's a really good technique, simple. And that's it. We want simple things so we remember them. And there's actually some other stuff you can do with a rose, but I might do that another time. Depending
Thank
on
you.
what we want to do. Yeah, you're welcome. So did you want to say anything, Marianne, or you okay?
All good, thank you. I'll
Great.
definitely use it. Yeah.
Yeah, do play with it and see how it goes. And just play, experiment. So and I'll send the replay out as well, so you can have another look, but you probably don't need to, because you've been on it with me. You kind of got the idea, because it's not difficult to remember, really. All right, my lovelies, well, we shall leave it there, and we'll see you another time. Something else, maybe, whatever crops up that I kind of think, oh yes, this would be useful. I'm doing it. So I'm not sure when the next one will be, but it'll happen at some point. So lovely to see you, and thanks for joining me. And we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.